Every fan base in the Big 12 is wrong about this one thing. And once you get it right, it's actually good news for everybody. This is Locked On Big 12.
You are Locked On Big 12, your daily podcast on the Big 12 Conference. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Happy Friday, everybody. Welcome into Locked On Big 12. I'm Drake Toll from America's #1 Big 12 podcast, Locked On Big 12. Thank you for making this show your first listen every single day. We will start BYU, Provo, Utah. I have good news for every fan base in the Big 12. You're like, oh, more BYU stuff. Look, this is for West Virginia, for TCU, for Baylor, for Central Florida, UCF. I have news that will enlighten you, that will make your experience in this conference better because of the people of Provo and BYU. I can explain. I think a lot of the fan bases in the Big 12 actually do enjoy having BYU in the conference, almost the inverse of Utah. I'll get there. There's a lot to unpack there. Also, West Virginia, the ACC, that's a thing. Like, people are talking about it. What if the whole athletic.com trade goes through? It won't, and it would suck for both parties, and I'll explain why then. Pac-12, going under already. $150 million. That's what they're being sued for. They can't stay alive with that. If you hit subscribe, I get to keep my job. I know if you're a West Virginia fan, if you're an Iowa State fan, if you're a Kansas State fan, you're like, man, this show does a lot of BYU, a lot of Utah. It's the most important rivalry in the conference. And BYU is arguably, alongside Texas Tech, the most important football establishment right now because of the investment. Does it mean that Arizona State's not important? Does it mean that we dilute Kansas State or Iowa State or Baylor or TCU? Of course not. But those two universities, because of their investment, make headlines nationally. Deion Sanders makes headlines nationally. But what I didn't know, what I didn't figure out, what I was unaware of, is you can buy beer in Provo. Misconception is the word that I would use. A few months ago, the county commissioner of Utah County reached out, was like, hey, come tour. Just come learn about all the things that most fan bases don't know, that when they show up on game day, you can have a beer. You can tailgate. You can have fun. He was like, come out. We'll do all expense paid. We'll show you the best of Provo. Well, that's a scam. Turns out it wasn't. So I fly in this week, super packed, right? Savannah Bananas on the side. So it's like, I can fly in for like 48 hours. We'll see what we can fit in. We fit in everything. Immediately, fly fishing. I'm like, I lived in I went to college in Waco. We didn't have fly fishing. You'd go on the Brazos and you could catch like a snake. We didn't do the whole fly fishing thing. It's like, that's pretty cool. Caught a brown trout. Justin was my guide. He was like, yeah, worked at Disney for a while. Now I live here and I fish. I like that. Then I go to Albar, which is a part of Sundance. By the way, did you know Sundance, the movie festival Sundance, isn't just movie festival. Like, they have a whole ski resort and zip lining and restaurants and as many craft beers as you want. Because there's this misconception about when you go to Provo for game day. It's like, oh, we hear it. We know Lavelle Edwards is this crazy atmosphere. But separate of BYU, the Utah Valley itself, Explore Utah Valley, those are the folks that have me out. The Utah Valley itself this is the way that I put it. People will look at BYU fans at Provo, at Utah, and go, they're odd people. And they don't like to have fun. And they would do anything. They would rather die than give you a beer when you asked for it. What did I do? I asked for a beer, and they gave me one, and another, without judgment, right? So I'm with our marketing director at Sundance, Nick. I'm with Chad, the GM, with Jake Hatch of Locked On Cougs, and what I'm quickly learning is this whole perception of BYU, this whole perception of the Utah Valley of Provo, that you see the viral, like, would you rather never, ever in your life sleep or drink coffee, and you're like, it's just not that. That's just not what the people of Provo are like. It's not what the experience of BYU is like. I learned after fly fishing, having a couple drinks at Albar at Sundance, which, by the way, not just a movie festival deal, not just a film fest. They have skiing, zip lining, like the lift up to this really cool brewery on the top of this mountain. It's a mountain, and you can see the world. And then the next morning, I hiked the Y, which is like the BYU thing that you do. I also, can I tell you a secret? I learned about NCMOs. That's an acronym. NCMO, non-committal makeout. They do that. They don't honor code violate, but they like the PDA there. I did learn that. So you're like, oh, they're kind of odd. In some ways, maybe. I hiked the Y. Was told the war stories from Kemper and Abby about BYU and the beauty of BYU, and hiking the Y is terrible. We'll never do it again. Cookies and cream, chocolate milk. 600 calories per sip. But in hiking the way, I was like, shoot, I would fly fishing yesterday, then to Sundance. Now I'm hiking the Wasatch Mountains and then going back to the Marriott Hotel. And Marriott is massive there. From like quick refresh and then back to Sundance, I'm ziplining 1,000 feet above the air. I could have died. Yeah. Did I? No. Was it cool? Yeah. None of these things are associated to BYU. Like you've come in your West Virginia on a game day. You've come in your UCF. You've come in your Colorado. You've come in your Utah. Like, shoot, I could stay at Sundance. I could zip line. I could also go fly fishing all within 15 minutes of campus. Had Native American cuisine for lunch. Crazy. Quinn picks me up. He's like Mr. Downtown. At this point, I'm working with Lee. I'm working with Bethany. I'm working with McKella, who are all with the Explore Utah Valley folks. And we go to lunch. We meet Quinn, who's the Mr. Downtown Provo guy. We go shopping at a record store. I buy 2 records. I don't even know if I do. I don't even do vinyls, but I was like, I'll get them. I love them. We go antiquing. We explore. And then I'm on a jet ski with Cosmo Cougar. Yeah, the BYU mascot. The first time he's ever jet skied. It was the craziest thing. Like out of body experience for me. This is the first BYU related thing that I'd done. Prior to this, it was just a vacation in Provo. Now I'm jet skiing with Cosmo, which jet skiing also not BYU related. It was just the fact that Cosmo was there. And look, he's the most viral mascot in the country. Don't blame me. We get to go jet skiing together. They had to tell him to slow down. He was so good at jet skiing. And slowly but surely, I'm like, yeah, shoot. People are always like, hey, they don't like to have fun there. Maybe they do. Then we go to dinner at Slackwater, brand new location out there. GM meets us like, hey, here's a table special for you, all reserved. Let's take a big group picture. Awesome. Legendary. Next morning we get up, BYU TV. We go to the Royal Blue, something like that. The collective, the NIL collective. And meet the people who are in the trenches giving money back to the student athletes even after the House settlement and able to help keep athletes at BYU. I got an AG DeBonta jersey. I did. It's somewhere over here. I think I got a bunch of stuff, man. We went to Thrift Hood. I bought the coolest jacket in the world at Thrift Hood. It was awesome. And what I learned is there's this misconception. The BYU's weird. They're different. They're abnormal. They're not like all of we are the university that drinks. We do the beer. It's not like that. You can go to the Marriott. You can go to the ABG was the bar that I went to. Really weird bar, by the way. You can go to Sundance and tailgate and if beer's not your thing, they don't care. If it is your thing, they don't care. That's the emphasis here that I'm trying to make is ultimately BYU is just like, look, if you're a Wisconsin fan, I heard about that legendary story. If you're a Wisconsin fan, if you're a Kansas fan and you're coming into our city, if you're a Houston fan, you're coming into our city, you're going to get a normal game day experience. It is what you make it. You just have to understand and take the blinders off that, this is going to be weird. Be like, no. Once you accept it's normal, it can be super normal. Thanks to Sundance, to Marriott, to jet ski guy, to BYU TV in that appearance, to walking through the Marriott Center, to everything that I got to do, to Quinn, to Nick, to Chad, to Bethany, to Lee, to all these names that I learned and Cosmo. And I walked away and I was like, wow, I feel really happy. BYU, Provo, Utah County made me very happy. And I learned that you, the Big 12 fan, adventure is out there. You can go see it. And it kind of rocks. Coming up, it really rocks. West Virginia to the ACC would not rock. Locked on Big 12. Hey, it's me. Today's show is brought to you by Monarch Money. Why? Because I need it. I have it, and I need to use it all of the time. I'm 24 years old. I don't know what I'm doing with my money, man. I look at my account, and it's gone. Until Monarch Money, my own personal CFO, says, hey, stop spending so much on swig. I'm going to Provo and buying swig all of the time. Monarch Money is more than a budgeting app. It's a complete financial command center. What's the most surprising thing to me is like it doesn't berate you. Like there's some apps that I've had in the past that are like, you're subscribed to this, stop it. I'm like, well, I like HBO. HBO is good for me. And Monarch Money is not like that. It's going to help you stay accountable with things that probably aren't worth your time or money, but not berate you. You can also share your finances with someone and check it every day, setting financial goals for yourself. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONCOLLEGE at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONCOLLEGE for half off your first year. Monarch Money. Should the Big 12 kick West Virginia out for any of the ACC schools, for SMU, for somebody not named West Virginia? This is the single stupidest idea of all time. The Athletic posted last week, 2 weeks ago, about this trade idea, and since then, every West Virginia pundit has picked up on it. I have certainly talked about it, and what I want to make abundantly clear: the Big 12 is way worse without West Virginia. I thought Coos, who covers West Virginia, had a really good thought about, look, the ACC is probably more convenient. Your cross-country team doesn't have to go to Arizona now. They have to go to Stanford instead. But ultimately, the Big 12 is a much better spot because of number one, to me at least, the ACC has slapped you in the face so many times. If you're a West Virginia fan, and I've mentioned this a billion times in this show, I grew up in Arkansas, Valonia, Arkansas, 4,000 people. You were in the military or you worked in construction. I still have people that will look at what I do for a living. And yeah, I wear a fur coat and pit vipers and a onesie for the Savannah Bananas and broadcast. And I sit here in an airport in Dallas. This is an airport room, and talking to a microphone and say funny words into a microphone. And I this is my job that I do. There are people in West Virginia who are genuinely coal mining, who are genuinely working at restaurants, doing service jobs to provide for their family as careers. And I have the utmost respect for those people because I grew up in Arkansas and saw the exact same thing. That's what my dad does. That's what a majority of my grandma's a restaurateur. Does she do well? Tries to. Works her butt off to break even. That's how everybody is in these small states that are underrepresented. I understand that with West Virginia. There is a sense of pride when Neil Brown doesn't represent your state. It's like, okay, it's probably good he's not there. When whoever DeVries, am I pronouncing that right? Who cares, right? When that guy says, 1 year, I'm going to sign a contract with Indiana effectively a month before the season ends. That's a guy you don't need. That's a guy who has a disrespect for a state that is often disrespected. When you are West Virginia, the last thing that I want for you is to go to a conference, the ACC, who has continually told you no. And in an attempt via their desperation to grab you, you telling them no is the ultimate middle finger. I wax poetic often off the air about Mountaineer Paul. Whether you love him or hate him, he loves West Virginia. He loves the Mountaineers. And you open his show and you go, oh, this guy's insane. And it's awesome. It is what I aspire to be in a lot of ways. I wish I go to TexAgs, right? This is the big Texas A&M site, or Orange Bloods. I think it's Texas, or Sikkim 365 with Baylor. And they're all journalists. They don't give you as much of this just raw, scaled back fan perspective. I'm the same way, right? I fall into that trap a lot. I listen to Mountaineer Paul and I go, that's awesome because it's West Virginia. Because it's someone who loves West Virginia and who gets it. I don't get it. I haven't lived there, right? But having lived in Arkansas, I understand how you are underrepresented or misrepresented often if you are a West Virginia fan. And so, number one, the league who has told you no continually, why on earth would you want to make that your home? I would hope the West Virginia fans have the wherewithal not to want that, not to want the ACC because, now we get Pitt. Boss man, here's my second point. You ready? Welcome to my sermon. 3 points here, maybe 4. We'll see. The Big 12, despite losing Texas and Oklahoma to the SEC, actively have achieved a greater degree of stability far and away as compared to the ACC. Many analysts would agree. It's becoming objective that there is a power 3, or if there is a power 4, the Big 12 is in third place in stability far and away because now the ACC has a very uncertain future. Their grant of rights that extends until 2036 has been effectively washed away, wiped away. It's clean. Here in 2030, 2031, when the SEC and the Big 10 rework their TV deals, I know this is kind of like clunky and weird. It's hard to explain, but follow with me. When the TV deals are reworked here in 5 years, the buyout for those two schools to leave the ACC shrinks so much that they'll be like, okay, cool, peace. We're gone. Now what? Are you going to lean on Stanford and Cal to lead your league? UNC's gone. Miami's gone. The ACC's future hangs in the balance. So if you're saying, well, Louisville's closer, well, Pitt is closer, we're having a terrible time finding regional matchups in the Big 12, hey, for a second here, let's all reckon with the fact that very, very soon, I can almost guarantee you the ACC is going to restructure or go under to the point that Louisville and Pitt are on a short list for the Big 12. From there, West Virginia will have more regional matchups and more ability to now compete against schools that are within driving distance. And then here comes maybe in Maryland is in there. You never know what the Big Ten is going to do. But here comes an NC State. And that's not crazy far. We're getting close. Or Virginia. That's not crazy far. We're at least getting closer. Or a Duke. We're giving you more regional matchups. It would be better to stay in the Big 12 than to bolt. And I say this a lot about the SMU situation. Their problem is they bolted. So now that they're in the ACC, if that conference falls apart, they're looking around going, oh, please, someone pick us. And everyone just saw you bolt. Everyone just saw you leave your league for the ACC, and no one wants to respect that or give value to that to add you to their conference. For West Virginia, if you stay put, you're more likely in 5 years to have regional matchups. Revenue distribution. The ACC, slightly more revenue per school, but the gap is not very big, and it's closing rapidly. Their media rights deal, lucrative as it seems, locked in for a longer period. It's not renegotiable. And so they're going to lose money. Ultimately, I say lose money, fall behind the Big 12 because they're not built for inflation. They don't have just like, hey, we're going to grow every year as inflation is crazy, like 7% or 10% or whatever it is. The ACC is like, oh, we forgot about that part. Great, cool. The Big 12 is just going to catch you then. And the Big 12 conference is much more competitive in football. Last year, the ACC had, I think, 0 top 25 matchups in basketball. And like maybe a couple in football. It was genuinely putrid. Big 12, on the other hand, best basketball in the country. And West Virginia was competitive last season. And they will be competitive, I believe, in the years moving forward. And so I don't think it's time to jump ship to the ACC. I really don't. And again, the past ACC snubs are a big part of that for me. I think once the conference told you we don't want you, once you've lost out on that, like the Pac-12 did, the Oklahoma States and the Baylors of the world a couple of years ago when the Big 12 was falling apart, now you owe them nothing. Now I want you to give them nothing. Now I think your best move from here is to stick it out in the Big 12. And I hope the West Virginia fans agree. I hope the West Virginia fans, when they see all this jazz, are like, you know what? Yeah. We do like the Big 12. That's my goal, at least. Coming up, the Pac-12 is going under already. Locked on Big 12. Oh, no, the Pac-12's dead. Like they were alive, and then they died again. And you know how? This is the craziest part. Is the Mountain West is suing the Pac-12 for $150 million. And the Pac-12 looking around going, oh, shoot. I don't know. We have all that laying around here. What is legendary about this entire deal is the Mountain West looks at Washington State, Oregon State, effectively what was the Pac-12. And by the way, I want to make it very clear. I support both those schools. I think they'd be very valuable additions to the ACC when that conference reformats to the Big 12 when we reformat here in a few years. I appreciate both of them. I think Kirk Schultz is the mastermind that kept the Pac-12 alive and a mastermind the Big 12 needs, somebody that could be advantageous for any conference. I support both those schools. Here is the dour side of what I'm about to give you, is that when both those schools signed with the Mountain West to do this weird like quasi-scheduling thing, the Mountain West is like, hey, big dogs, come on over here. We'll let you play our schools. It'll be cool. It'll be tight. We'll enjoy this thing together. Both of those schools, the Washington States and Oregon States of the world and the brand new Pac-12 were like, wait, what if we just stole the Mountain West schools and rebuilt the Pac-12 with them? And the Mountain West goes, hey, we tried to save you. Our whole deal with signing this contract for you to play us was so you could stay alive and then maybe join our conference eventually. And you've used it to, here comes the word, 3, 2, to tamper. Yeah, we love that one in the Big 12. You've used this to tamper with how the conference operates and steal our members. We threw you a lifeline. You grabbed the lifeline, climbed onto the ship, shot our captain in the head. Like we just threw you the lifeline. What did you kill our captain for? Like, my bad. It's going to help keep me alive. I'm the captain now. And in retaliation, these two go to effectively mediation. They're going to try to settle out of court, figure it out. Here's the price tag the Mountain West wants as this reparation for the Pac-12 stealing Mountain West schools. The Pac-12 says, no, they can't come to an agreement, and now we are going to court. We're going to trial between the Mountain West and the Pac-12 as these two conferences try to fight. And so the Pac-12 is arguing that this is just better for student athletes. Like, oh, we have the best interests of student athletes in hand. And also the Mountain West just signed a contract with CBS. They're doing fine. I'm going to ask you a question. Take your rooting interest out of this. You are the judge of the world. I'm allowing you to be the judge of the world. And the case is between the Pac-12 and the Mountain West. And what the Mountain West is saying is, hey, we gave the Pac-12 an opportunity to stay alive by their surviving members coming and playing an adjusted schedule. We were very gracious, playing an adjusted schedule to participate in the Mountain West. In response to that, in response to our hospitality, they decided to steal our member institutions, effectively trying to kill our conference for them to stay alive. If you're the judge of the world, and then the Pac-12's like, hey, counterpoint. All we did was sign a contract to stay alive and play their schools and then poach their universities so we could stay alive even further. This is an admittance of guilt on one side, and the other side going, yeah, we got robbed. If we're being objective about this, if you're the judge, you're staring this case down going, well, that's the easiest decision I've ever made. This is murder. And the one side is admitting to the murder, the Pac-12, just saying, like, well, it was with the best interests of our student athletes in hand. The Pac-12 collapses. Most of its members leave. Big 10, Big 12, ACC. Pac-2 remains. And then with that, it was the full football schedule in 2024. Oregon State, Washington State with the Mountain West. And then from there, that was it. That was it. They said, this is our opportunity to create a new Pac-12. Boise State, Colorado State, Fresno State, San Diego State, Utah State, all of the states. And the Mountain West said, you owe us poaching penalties. And that started the Mountain West Conference claims it's owed approximately $55 million in poaching penalties from the Pac-12 due to 5 schools joining. They also claim substantial exit fees from the individual schools, bringing the total to over $150 million. So again, you're the judge here. And you're like, yeah, there probably should be a fine for stealing the other conference's schools. And by the way, there should certainly be a payment you have to make when you leave the conference, when you break the contract you signed with the conference. So the Pac-12, how do they respond to this? This is crazy. Filed a lawsuit against the Mountain West, seeking to invalidate or overrule the poaching penalties. Again, saying like they're unlawful. They're an attempt to obstruct the ability for student athletes to have their best interests put into practice here. And they're confident. They think, oh, we're going to stand our ground. And Mountain West is like, oh, cool. Well, like, we're suing you. And then even wilder in this whole deal, which there's so many intricate pieces, Boise State, Colorado State, and Utah State filed their own lawsuits against the Mountain West Conference, alleging they're challenging the legality and amount of their exit fees from the Mountain West, which are around $19 million per school. At the root of this, after the failed mediation, deadline of July 15, they couldn't figure anything out. After it failed, no settlement was reached. They're going to go to court. Both conferences said they are back on the litigation track. We're going to sue you in court. September 9th, 2025 is this requested date. We're going to learn even more. Mountain West Conference Commissioner Gloria Nevarez says she's really confident in their legal position, will aggressively protect the interests of their member institutions, and obviously the outcome is critical for Mountain West's financial stability. It just feels a little objective. Can we all agree it's a little objective that the poor Mountain West is like, dude, you can't do that. I scratched your back. You shot me in mine. If I'm the judge, I am going to grant the Mountain West Conference their $150 million. And the Mountain West Conference is going to thrive off that. They also just, like I said, signed a deal with CBS, so they're doing well. And then if you're the Pac-12, you start looking around going, oh, shoot. Especially in this revenue sharing era where we're all giving our student athletes like $20 million. Any of y'all got that dough? What do we got in escrow back there? What do we got in the bank? Shout out Arizona Athletics. What do we have in petty cash in the drawers? This is devastating for the Pac-12. And I'm rooting for Washington State and Oregon State. And there's really no two ways around the whole tampering thing or poaching thing. So I understand that this is just a tough spot to be in for them in general. But if you're just a normal human being, just a person, and you look at this, you go, yeah, tough to get around that one. You kind of did the dirty. You broke the honor code with this one as the Mountain West, or as the Pac-12 toward the Mountain West. So I'm rooting for you, Gloria Nevarez, Mountain West Conference. I learned a lot about this. I read a lot about this. They provided a lifeline to the Pac-12. Pac-12 said, hey, thanks. We're going to steal all your people. You can't do that. Can't do that. And so my hat goes off to the Mountain West Conference. Best of luck in all of this. If I was the judge, if most of the listeners were the judge, I'm sure they'd be like, you know what? Cool. Fine. Mountain West, you win in court. Overall, Provo was great. Loved it. Loved Utah County. Loved Utah Lake even. Crazy. I know. West Virginia to the ACC is the stupidest thing I've ever heard in my life. And the Pac-12 might just die because they can't pay $150 million in court. Oops, the dead Pac-12 becomes the new Pac-12, becomes the bankrupt Pac-12. This has been It Always Will Be. Thanks for making it your first listen every single day. We'll see you cats on Monday. Locked On. Thanks for making it your first listen every single day. Dose Grande.